We are getting new Red versus Blue in the year of our Lord 2023, and I'm full Robin Williams in Jumanji. What year is it? Meme.
Did we go back in time?
No. No.
Are you sure? It feels a little like we went back in time.
Yes.
There
are several very important markers that lead me to believe that no, it is still 2023.
No. I do want to just say, because I knew we were going to be doing this reaction video today, I definitely picked out a blue shirt because blue team, best team. After all this time, blue team, best team.
I'm just wearing what I wore to work. It's been a long everything, and so I'm going into this with like, so it'll be interesting. It's about, I want to say 3 days after this actually dropped, after the news. Been a minute. And with RTX this past year, which I honestly haven't been paying as much attention to.
No.
I didn't realize it wasn't on 4th of July weekend this year until I saw people talking about it. So that's a change. But new Red versus Blue season and new episodes of Camp next year. And I'm sitting here going, all right, Summoning Circle for Gnome Out of Nowhere season 2. That didn't happen, sadly. And we're gonna address the elephant in the room, because this is a channel that has a lot of RWBY fans. Hello, I see you, I love you.
I was gonna say, do we want to say who we are first before we get into it?
Yes.
I'm Megan.
And I'm Katie. And I'm having a hard time tonight.
Sorry, when you put your hand on my shoulder, I couldn't tell if that was like a bitch I was getting to it, or if that was a thank you for the reminder.
No, I'm just struggling tonight. This is a struggle. Yeah, no.
It's been a long week.
It's only Tuesday, and yet that is true.
Big Tuesday energy! For all you RWBY fans. We're coming back with Big Tuesday energy.
Oh my god. Oh.
Sorry. Okay, we can move on now.
The point that I was getting to is that there's been some contention over the fact that, oh, we're getting more Red vs. Blue, we're getting more Camp, but RWBY Season 10 hasn't been greenlit yet. It's different budgets, it's different functions, it's different, I know it's all Rooster Teeth animation, but it's still different teams, different parts of the company. Like, if you've been paying attention to the larger conversation around RWBY, the licensing, the platform, the straight up anime spinoff that we have, like, RWBY is in a very different situation than every other Rooster Teeth animation production. And not knowing anything about the specifics behind the scenes, I will say that I think the Crunchyroll numbers from last season are important, and that might have been something that people are looking at. Because again, we're owned by what, WB at this point still?
Well, so, WB, which is owned by AT&T.
Yes. So the point is that Rooster Teeth can no longer just unilaterally say, hey, we're making this. There's investors, there's corporate bullshit, like there has to be an approval process. And if we're getting a trailer for the next and final season of Red vs. Blue now, that tells me that the season is this close to done and that it's been in the works for a hot minute. So for everyone going, where's RWBY Volume 10? They specifically asked people to circulate the, what is it, Greenlight Volume 10?
Yes.
Hashtag on Twitter, on all of your various social medias. So, like, do that and understand that we can have both. We're getting the final season of Red vs. Blue. We can throw our weight behind RWBY and, hop back on Crunchyroll and watch the season again. And if you haven't done it yet, or if you did a little yo-ho with the season, which... guys, 30-day free trial for Crunchyroll, and then you can watch the season again and bump those Crunchyroll numbers. Like, it helps. It's a concrete thing to show investors. So if you're here going, okay, but what about RWBY though? That is what about RWBY though, and that is what you can do to support RWBY. In the meantime, holy fuck, Red vs. Blue Restoration, the final season. I think technically this is season 19. If you count Family Shatters, it's season 20. I think for purposes of having nice round numbers, we're probably going to count Family Shatters.
I think that's fair.
And we're also back to our titled seasons. It's been a minute.
Have they not... When was the last time they did that? Was
6, 7, 8.
I thought that was the case.
Yeah. Because then the other two were the Freelancer duology, the chorus seasons, and then I have no idea what the trilogy name for 15, 16, 17 is.
I don't know if they
Aside from just Madness.
I don't know if they have a unified trilogy name, because
I don't know either.
15 was an anthology season.
14 was the anthology.
Was it? Oh,
Yes.
God.
Yes.
Then I don't know.
Yeah.
The top of my head.
14 was the anthology season. 15 had the blues and reds, and
That's
then
right.
16 and 17 were gods and time travel and just all sorts of crazy stuff. And then 18 was 0. And so if we're going with 19 being Family Shatters, this is season 20. And if we're not including Family Shatters, then this is season 19. I'm just going to go ahead and say season 20 because I like nice round numbers and no one can tell me no yet. In a year, someone's going to comment on this and be like, well, actually, and like, that's fine. That's
Are you
fine.
kidding? 5 minutes from now.
Nobody has said officially what it is.
Oh no, I just mean in the comments. It doesn't matter if it's right. That's just what someone will say.
You know, we do still have humans going through the reactions for previous seasons and leaving comments. I see you. I love you. So I get those emails.
It's very flattering.
I get
It's very
those
nice.
emails. So we're like, I'm just going to leave a comment. They'll never see it. I see it in my inbox.
We have more things to say, but should we go
Obviously.
ahead and jump into the reaction?
Yes, for this 4.5 minute thing before my iPad runs out of battery.
Yeah,
Yes.
I have thoughts and opinions about this existing, but I think it's better to let's go ahead and watch
Yes.
it, and then we can kind of dig into a larger discussion.
So, Red vs. Blue Restoration, the final season, fucking 4-minute teaser, goddamn. Click. We're back here. With the slowest pan.
I seem to recall somebody saying that they never wanted to come back here.
Back it up and then run it again with these parameters.
Acknowledged.
Fucking what?
There, come on. I have to go.
Put that away.
Sorry.
Give me simulation Indigo 7-4, but add in 30% personnel loss, and then run it recursively up through 90% in whole units.
On it. There, come on. I have to go. Don't worry. There, you'll see me.
Guys,
You'll see me again.
why is this one playing? Who keeps running this?
Don't worry.
Rude. Very rude.
Pretty sure you're doing that, boss.
You? When did you get a new voice?
Now, when you gave me one, I suppose. Maybe in one of your simulations.
Yeah, well, I don't like it. It doesn't sound right.
Oh, I agree. But here we are. You ever wonder about that?
Do you ever wonder why we're here?
Why we're here?
Ah.
Leave me alone.
Oh, I know why I'm here. I have a goal, a purpose, to restore what once was great and make it great again.
No! Ew! No! Bad!
Alpha.
Oh, but what about you? What's the point of all this?
I just need to prepare them. If they're going to survive this, they need to be ready for what's next.
What, like this? You really think this is possible?
Well, that one's just cool. You know what? Maybe try not being an asshole for once. If I can just run enough simulations, I can...
Ah, you've already run millions.
If I just run enough, I can get them ready.
No, you can't think of everything. You can't make it perfect.
I can get better. Someone once told me, better can be good enough. And I have time. Time means something different to me now.
But you're forgetting something, aren't you? Oh, you can feel got something right at the edges of your mind. A lost memory. Oh, like you always say.
Memory is the key.
Oh, you brought so many of these
That's so rude.
simulations. Yet what have you learned?
That I have to do what I'm about to do. But if I do it, we always end up in the same place.
That's right. And that's where I'll be. That is where we will be. At the end.
It can work. I know it can work. Faith. I just have to have faith. It'll work. But I guess I'll never know. Ain't that a bitch? Let's run one more.
Wow.
It's nice to hear that music again.
Yeah, they are really going back.
For a moment, I thought that was like a
Like,
post.
what?
I was gonna say, can you have a post-credit
Are we getting a stinger for a trailer? No, it's the 343 logo.
Can you have a post-credit stinger for a teaser trailer?
All right, well, time to re-up that first subscription, I guess. I let it go because I had Crunchyroll, and that's where everything else is. I'm like, nope, just kidding. So the fun thing about getting people into Red versus Blue in this day and age is, one, the fact that it comes with a lot of caveats. What with starting in the very early 2000s, being internet gamer bro humor, having a lot of language and jokes in the earlier seasons that are just like nowadays. I mean, they were never okay to begin with, but we thought they were back then, and it turns out they're not.
Again, it's part of that toxic sort of gamer culture.
Yeah.
That at the time it was just like,
At the
oh, that's
time,
just
it
what
was
it means
the
to be a
thing.
gamer, bro.
Yeah.
But like now it's like, oh
Well,
no,
it's like, maybe
that's bad
don't.
actually.
Again, those things that were never okay, but at the time we thought they were. So there's like the current school of knowledge, the current idea is generally to onboard people on season 6. It's when we start getting the plot. It's when we get freelancers.
It's my favorite.
A lot of people who are coming into Red versus Blue are already familiar with Wash, especially, and Carolina. If they're seeing media, if they're hearing about it from friends, whatever. So it makes the most sense to put them on there. I think for this especially, and given that Blood Gulch Blues sting, it's time to go back and watch seasons 1 through 5 if you haven't. With the understanding that, yeah, it didn't have much of a plot to begin with and they just kind of stacked it on when they could. Yeah, a lot of the language and jokes are such a huge problem. There's, again, with the understanding that it is 2000s gamer humor, there's a lot there that is foundational for the rest of the show. Even more so when you get into 6, 7, 8, and 9 and 10, and Chorus. Like, it is still built on the Blood Gulch Chronicles. So, you know, if you get in there and you can't stand it, or if there's an ongoing joke that just hits you in the wrong way and you can't do it, I'm not going to be like, oh, well, like, no. You only have so many heartbeats. Don't put media in your face that you don't like.
True.
But I think, especially for people who hopped on with season 6 and have not seen earlier, go back and put some classics in your face. Just go back and see where it all started. It's gonna be relevant. Like, again, just given the musical sting at the end, there's no way it's not gonna be relevant.
I have mixed. What I was going to say earlier is that I have mixed feelings.
That's fine.
I have mixed feelings about this, and now having seen the trailer, I still have mixed feelings. Like, don't get me wrong, I think it's a very interesting premise to kickstart a season. I have mixed feelings though about the implication that the last handful of seasons that we had since this point in time
Were simulations.
and that they're therefore not canon per se, but that the implications are that they didn't actually happen.
They're in their own little pocket.
Yeah, they're
Like,
in their own little pocket dimension reality sort of deal.
In terms of just keeping the story together and trying to just look at where the series has gone, I can very much understand why they would do that, especially if they want to go back and finish it off. And with Chorus being seen as some of the strongest that Red vs. Blue has ever been.
Mm-hmm.
So I get them doing that. I especially get them doing that when it's coming back around to Bernie, because I think that was the last time he was involved in the show.
I think so.
And then, you know,
If
directed
I recall
by Matt
correctly, that was back when we were still doing AfterBuzz shows.
Oh,
for
yeah.
it. So I believe we had Bernie on to
We
talk.
did.
Bernie and Miles to talk about the season
Yeah.
finale.
Yeah. So it's been a hot minute. And again, we're going back to early Red vs. Blue classic of Bernie writing, Matt directing. Again, with people leaving the company, et cetera, it's not going to be all the same casting, but if you've kind of been following things and watching the PSAs and whatnot, you've already seen some of the recasts that they've done, and they're solid, they're fun. So, yeah, I can understand why they did that from a writing standpoint, from a familiarity standpoint. Do not anyone go after the people who made those seasons. Just keep it here. Just keep it here.
Yeah.
Vent to your friends if you want to, but like, don't be an asshole to people who made seasons you didn't like.
Yeah, please don't. And that's like, look, I'm a horror movie fan. I understand that the concept behind Halloween 2018 of like, okay, like, we're not going to ask somebody to sit down and watch 6 movies in order to get what we're going for here, so we're just wiping the slate clean. I understand that from that perspective. So I get it. I'm a little disappointed, if I'm being honest. I'm still going to wear my Knife Wife shirt with pride.
Yeah. Just because they were simulations doesn't mean they weren't really fun characters.
They were, yeah.
They were
I do appreciate even saying, hey, that one was cool. Like, that one doesn't get enough of the love that it deserves.
Yeah.
Yeah, so.
Like, you really think that could happen? Well, I'm fucking enjoying it.
It was very cool.
We're sitting here going, yeah, it's like a movie. Well, now it is.
Yeah.
Now it's a movie.
The other thing is that, talking about kind of stuff outside of, in the real world, there's been a lot of drama surrounding Rooster Teeth in the last couple years, which makes it a little bit more difficult than it used to be to get excied for Red vs. Blue.
This is also fair.
Particularly fandom being really, really not great to people who made a lot of those seasons that we were just talking about.
Yes. Again, there is, and I've talked about this a lot on Nighttime at the Nerd Bar, actually, and I think I've talked about it a good amount on this channel. It's perfectly fine to have opinions. It's perfectly fine to dislike something. It's perfectly fine to actually straight up, like, hate something and go, they did this to this media. I can't do this anymore. Like, yeah, you're entitled to your opinion. You are entitled to your reaction. Your feelings are valid. That doesn't mean that you can use it to bludgeon the person who made it.
No.
Having direct access to creators is kind of a mistake because not everyone treats that well. So I don't like everything that happened in those seasons, and we've talked about it. There are some things I really enjoyed, and there are some things where it's like, okay, we're going back to this well again. Let him rest. Let him rest. I believe I once described it as, just because I'm tired of them going back to the hurting wash well doesn't mean I'm not willing to Samara crawl out of it at the top of the hat. I know what I'm about. So,
got a lot of practice with that, Samara.
Oh my God, like you wouldn't believe. So again, but that's the sort of thing where like I can sit here and go, I didn't like that. But that doesn't mean I have to go tell the person who made it, hey, that thing you did, I don't like it. That's a dick move.
Yeah.
That's a dick move. You just don't say anything. You talk to your friends. You talk to your fellow. You go in your Discord server where, you know, the creators are not. You talk to your peers. You talk to the fandom. You do not put it in front of the people. You do not send it to the people who made it. That is beyond rude.
It's extremely disrespectful.
And not just for Red versus Blue, any media.
Yeah.
Because, and this is a thing where there's that graph of knowledge where it's like how much you know and like your confidence and how much you know. And so there's a really high spike when you know virtually nothing about something of like, oh, I totally know what I'm doing. And then you start learning and then you start actually figuring things out. So that really high spike is unfortunately where a lot of media consumers are. And having been adjacent to the business long enough and done these interviews and watched these behind the scenes footage and had these conversations, I know so much more about the animation industry now. So much more. And there is so much behind the scenes that literally none of us will ever know, where those NDAs will not expire or it'll be decades into the future. None of us will ever have the full story as to how a season came to be, how someone came to be a showrunner or a director or a producer on it, how much it's changed from pitch to execution. Like, because none of us were involved, and there are some things that do remain trade secrets, remain under NDA, some things that just don't get released for one reason or another, none of us will ever know the full story. And I think a lot of people just don't understand how deep that well is. They see the reflection on the surface about 4 feet down, and they're like, it's 4 feet deep. I'm like, sure, jump in. See you never. Again, take it from someone who's hit maybe the 6 or 7 foot mark in that well and is starting to realize just how far down this goes. You will never have the full story. So maybe don't be ticked at someone who does when you don't. Just, you know, it's every time we start talking about this, it becomes a lecture on like not being an asshole to creators. But man, and this is what puts people off of creating.
Regardless of, again, whether or not you liked or didn't like a season, there is an army of people who worked very hard to put it together. And again, even if it wasn't your cup of tea, you should respect that.
Yes.
So between...
It's okay to not like things. Don't be a dick about the things you don't like. Or like, do it in private with other people instead of in front of the creator themselves. Like,
start your own YouTube channel. There you go.
Start a Discord server, make a Tumblr,
and please,
do what? Just
at least
vibe.
At least do one book, at least one book on like media criticism or just any sort of like literary
media literacy
in any capacity. Because taking surface level interpretations of things and running with those can also lead to disastrous results. But anyway, my point is that in between toxic fan culture and not great decisions that the company has made, like, and also not necessarily being held accountable for a lot of those bad decisions. And I say bad decisions, I mean like creating a toxic workplace and things like that. I don't want to get too deep into it because that's not what we're here to talk about. And again, as speaking as somebody who wasn't there, so therefore I don't know. I don't want to speak on anyone's behalf either.
We can only see what has been released. We do not know the full story.
So in between all the drama, so to speak, and then just in between all the drama, both with the company and with the fans, it's hard to get excited about Red versus Blue specifically. That being said, this looks like a very cool, like I said,
Yeah.
way to kickstart a season. I appreciate all the callbacks, and something I really like about, something finally coming to an end is a lot of stuff, coming full circle.
Yeah.
And getting those resolutions that with an ongoing series,
You don't get.
you don't get. Or you get at the end of the season, and then those characters have to backtrack because,
Because we gotta have more conflict. We
Exactly.
gotta
Exactly.
again. I talk about returning to the well of hurting wash.
Exactly.
Like,
So
it's
it is
easy.
exciting getting the idea that we'll finally get a definitive end to the story and to these characters, and get to see characters that we haven't seen in a while. It has been a long time since we've seen Epsilon. And
a long time since we've seen any of the AI. And
Yeah.
let's be real,
I kinda
rolling
miss
out
them.
Delta saying memory is the key is high-key rude. I love it. It's so rude.
it's extremely rude.
I have that shirt.
Again, the 6, 7, and 8 trilogy is my favorite, with season
Yes.
6 being my favorite.
And 8
so
is mine.
I'm not
Shitty Villain Wash is my favorite season.
And so I'm definitely not upset. I am definitely down to watch a season where this is the premise. But again, I'm going to be keeping those mixed feelings and sort of
Yeah.
critiques within the back of my head.
Yeah.
And obviously, I'm going to wait until the season is done as a whole, and therefore Red versus Blue is done as a
Yeah.
whole, to sort of stand back and go, okay, what do I think about this now? Where does this sit in my heart of hearts?
Yeah. There is a website that's just arethémakingmoreredversusblue.com. And it's just a text page that says yes.
No!
And I think whoever's running that, whoever has that, if you're still plugged into this, if you're still keeping track of this, I think I'm gonna hop over there on the day the finale airs and see if they've changed it to no. We are pulling out
Oh my God.
all of the fun part of being on Tumblr when this dropped is seeing a post going around going, my apologies to everyone who's going to start seeing their mutuals Red versus Blue fandom come out of the woodwork, and I'm just like, it never left. Dear everyone who followed me for the Turtles hyperfixation, welcome to hell. Dear everyone who followed me for Red versus Blue way back when, thank you for your patience with the Turtles hyperfixation. That's not leaving either. I can multitask.
Oh yeah, no. My hyperfixations have definitely changed, but Red versus Blue was certainly a hyperfixation in the 6, 7, and 8 era.
Oh, yeah.
And where I would think about it a lot. And so, yeah, I do feel a little bit of that coming back, like watching this and being like, I'm still here.
Me, every time there's a new Kingdom Hearts game,
Yeah.
just comes screaming back out. I'm like, okay, we're doing this again. It lives in here. It's not leaving.
There are certain bits of fandom that I will occasionally, they're hyperfixations, and then they go into the back of my brain, as Jaden Animations put it, and live in just little links to each other in little hobby cubby drawers inside my brain.
Yep.
And so every now and again, I open up one of those cubby drawers and go, I'm gonna just have this for a little while and hold it like a little mental plushie.
It's very much that. It's like, okay, that one's vibing. Oh, hey, here's news. I'm like, oh, it never left.
I usually, if I'm sad, I will usually pull out the Sonic one.
Oh, yeah. You never put it away.
Yay.
You never put it away.
I put it away
You
sometimes.
never put it away.
Very, very briefly.
You never put it away.
I put it down on the desk.
That's the stuffed animal that sits on your bed instead of the closet. All right?
No, it sits on top of the desk like a professional. I'm an adult.
A professional
Katie.
stuffed animal?
I'm an adult, Katie. I don't have plushies on my bed. I keep them on my desk, my place of work, because I'm an adult.
Oh, I have both. The bigger ones have to stay on the chair. They're too big to. I have a stuffed prickle mane that's this big around.
If I had glasses, I would push them up to indicate how sophisticated I am. Talking about mental plushies.
Anyway, So I'm pretty fucking sure that that's Sigma that we've been talking
Oh
to.
yeah. Oh,
which
that
is
was very
also
much the case with the fire.
That's
the
very
fire.
oddly rewired my brain because I've been into Overwatch for so damn long. It's like, wait a minute, wrong Sigma.
What is that melody?
Who is that AI?
But no,
that melody? Blood Gulch Blues. Or whatever.
I mean, Elijah Wood, they got him for one season. and
Yeah, there was no way they were getting Elijah Wood back. But having all of the AI back, like I've seen people talking about, I wasn't interested, and then I watched the trailer and there were AI, and now I'm interested, and it's just like, they know. They know what you're into. They know that we're still sitting here going, okay, but which ones were Ada and Iota, though? Like, which ones were they? It was never confirmed.
Can I also just say that,
Pulled
like,
that out of nowhere, damn.
Sigma busting out a "make it great again"? I'm just like, ew, get it away! No, I have a visceral reaction to that phrase now.
I think that's the point.
Yeah.
This production company is in Texas, mind you.
Yep.
And Texas tends to get fucked around when it comes to politics.
Yeah.
It's a rough place to be. Yeah. So, after that.
Sorry, I didn't mean to derail.
No,
too
I
badly.
mean, it's, I wouldn't be surprised if you, I'm sure you weren't the only one. There we go. If I can phrase things correctly tonight. Like, no, of course not. The brain's on vacation. Yeah, no, yes.
I also
yes,
appreciated-
what the fuck.
I also
Yes.
appreciated just very prominently the first like mocap thing that they ever
They
did.
kept showing Wash getting hit by a car.
having that very prominently in the background. I remember the first
More
time
than
I watched
once.
that. I think I literally screamed out loud the first time I saw it. It was fucking fantastic. You know,
whereas I'm sitting here going, yeah, it really is focusing on that scene of him getting hit by a car.
I think that's
It's so easy.
It's such a special moment because I think that's the first thing that Monty Ohm worked on when he started working with Rooster Teeth. So it was just a very special moment, and like, oh, we're doing like animation now.
We are adding things in. We are getting to do more.
And they always did sort of low rent, like JPEG stuff for comedy's sake. And that's certainly not to diminish how much work they put into with Machinima and how much like After Effects actually like did need to be a part of that. Yeah. I don't want to diminish any of that, but like having the full on animation there literally come blasting through the wall. Yeah. It was such a special moment. That hit Wash directly in the face. I'm so sorry.
It's like, and he lived. He lived.
Somehow.
He put all of his points into survivability. It's not, you'd think it wouldn't be a sustainable build, and yet. Yeah. No, and then you find out Wash was the caboose of his group.
Yeah.
Like, fuck, man.
Again, what a fun dynamic to have, like, the badass character for those seasons, and then you pull back and you're just like, oh yeah, no, he was the rookie in their squad.
He was the local
He was the baby.
Oh. Yeah, context is everything.
He was the baby until the end of that season where he's like, I've been traumatized.
Yeah, exactly like that.
Just like literally the gravity falls like jumping out of the thing. I've been traumatized. Pretty sure Wash jumped out of season 8 like that. I forget which season specifically it was.
10.
Yeah, that was it.
Oh yeah, so this has all been news I was not expecting.
No.
Just kind of batshit insane. We're going back to where we started. We're going back to the end of Chorus, which was a solid cliffhanger ending on its own, was perfectly well hand-waved when we got into season 15, so it will be really interesting to see what they actually do, because suddenly that tension is back. Everything that was in play at the end of season 13 is back on the table. And because it's the final season, no one is safe.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, you could have permanent character death.
It is a big deal to kill what would be considered a main character. And generally speaking, the Blood Gulch crew have been bulletproof. except for Church, whose job is to die, like a lot, repeatedly, more than once. So,
And I think it's
the
fair to
fact
say
that-
he will be dead by the end of this season.
Oh, yeah. So, the fact that all bets are off, all bets could very well be off, because this is the last season.
Yeah.
Like, the idea was that they would keep making Red versus Blue as long as it was popular. They would keep making Red versus Blue as long as people wanted it. The fact that we have put a pin in that now and gone, this is it, this is the end of the line, all the rules are out the window.
Yep, that's what
Like,
happens when you do a final
Who
season.
knows, man? It could anything could happen. And again, the situation where we leave everyone at the end of Chorus was very tense and fucking terrifying, honestly. Could go any which direction. We don't know. So yeah,
I am bummed out that we won't be getting more of Shatter Squad. Like,
Yeah.
I am bummed about that. And again, I'm a little bit bummed about the hand waving canonicity and things like that. Again, we don't need to retread that ground.
Yeah.
But yeah, I am excited to get some character resolution. And yeah, there's also like the shipper in my heart that's like, make Griffin Simmons canon. This is your last chance.
like Grimmins, Grimmins, Grimmins. Come on.
It's been 20 years.
They're already basically married.
They've been married for 20 years. They just don't know it.
Honestly, as much as I really do want that, I also think it'll be funnier if that's where the series ends, like right before. Although
that'd be so mean.
you know how it does have to end on some answer we have not heard before to the question, you ever wonder why we're here? They gotta bookend it. We've bookended it a few times before, but like,
I
this
imagine
is-
that would be.
this is it. You gotta.
I imagine that would be the lead into the final line for sure. I hope Wash and Carolina get happy endings. Like,
I hope they live.
I also hope, talking about the shipper in my heart, I hope that they get happy endings and that they get to be together.
Wash and Tucker.
Okay. That's not my ship, but I appreciate it.
It's a fun one.
It's not my ship, but I appreciate it.
Yeah. And Doc and Donut deserve to have, what was it, their farm?
Yes.
Yes, they
That'd be
deserve their
nice.
farm.
That would be
It'd
great.
be very nice. Especially if the Doc backstory that we
Oh
got
my god!
was real.
That was insane. That was
was a lot.
oddly dark. Just like, whoa!
I mean, as messy as that trilogy was, season 17 was kind of amazing for
Yeah.
Doc and Donut. Like,
No, and-
there was some
And
incredible
that's-
character work
Again,
there.
that's part of the bummer about the, again, sort of the semi-canonicity as opposed to it
Yeah.
being actually canon is that those later seasons, while mishandling some characters, gave other characters a lot of the limelight that they had been so, you know, lacking in previous seasons. So,
And
and
again,
gave them
with-
development that was good and interesting too. So,
And like with a show with an ensemble cast,
Mm-hmm.
whenever you look at a writer, whenever you get a new writer, they're always going to be better at some characters than others, and that's not a bad thing.
Mm-hmm. That's
you
just
can
being
really,
human.
yeah, and you can really see like where the preference comes in, where the focus is. You know, again, not a bad thing. The question is, the characters that they're bad at, are there other writers, are there other people that can kind of shore that up? Do they hit their stride? So what's interesting to me is bringing Bernie back as a writer, where like all of these are his, you know?
yeah, it'll be interesting.
Yeah, a lot has changed in 20 seasons.
Like I said,
a lot has changed.
I'm less enthusiastic than I think I would have been a decade
Few years
ago,
ago.
even just 5 years ago.
Fair.
But I'm here for it. You know,
Yeah.
I'm here to see how this story comes to an end. For sure.
I'm here to be thrown headfirst back into that end of season 13 anxiety.
Open up
Like-
the mental cubby drawer and being like, oh, here's some action figures I haven't played with for a
it's
while.
not even that. It's always kind of been there.
Oh,
for
no,
me
I meant for me.
Oh, for you, yeah. But for
Gonna
me,
put them
it's
back
just
on the
like,
desk for a little
okay, that was a situation that had been resolved. Okay, we had like the 10-month vacation, and we had the water park, and the band where Carolina couldn't sing.
I sing
The dinosaurs
so
were
good.
So Carolina sings
So good.
And the dinosaurs versus the robots. Like, okay, we figured out that situation. That ended. We moved on. We're right back to, no, you fucking didn't. No, you fucking didn't. Everyone could die. Like, oh, right.
So much for my summer vacation.
Oh,
Looks like
God.
my
Looks like my summer vacation is over. It's a simulation of everything.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to use Kingdom Hearts to hurt you.
I hope you're all
apologies.
enjoying this as much as I am. I'm really enjoying this. I think on that note, we should probably call this.
Okay.
People sitting here going, holy fuck, we've been lectured, we've had weird theories, there was a reaction in there somewhere, and now they're making references to franchises I didn't come here for. And it's like, well, it's my fucking
For all
channel.
12
I
of
do
you
all
that
sorts
are-
of dumb shit.
For all 12 of you that are still here, hi, how you doing?
Watch numbers are better than that. We love you very much in your own special individual way.
Thanks for hanging out with us. I'm Megan. You guys can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at @themenguin. That's TheMenguin, assuming Twitter is still functional by the time this video goes up. And I haven't picked another social media to jump to outside of that. But yeah, so that's where you can go to follow me. In the meantime, what else do I do? I have a YouTube channel called Silver Screens where Katie and I talk about horror things. And I also have a podcast called No Love Lost where my co-host Willie loves Lost and I don't. It's a Lost retrospective podcast and we sit and talk about the thing.
I'm Katie. You can follow me all over the social medias and on Twitch. You all right there?
Sorry. Go right.
You alive? You good?
Yes.
You good?
I'm
Brilliant. At Kiaxet, that is Kiaxet. I am also on a weekly show called Nighttime at the Nerd Bar, like I mentioned earlier. That is at 7:30 p.m. Pacific on Mondays on the Fanversation YouTube channel. I also do convention press coverage, which is also on the Fanversation YouTube channel, and we're going to be having stuff from San Diego Comic-Con in a couple weeks.
Yay!
So, yeah,
That'll be so fun.
The AX coverage and then the Comic-Con coverage. I don't sleep in July.
You're going to be so tired.
I already am. I already am. Anyway, all that's on that channel. Hop in on that show. We record live. We stream live and then we upload the VOD. We have a very, very fun time with that. Yes, if you would like to support this channel, we have a Patreon, which gets you Rooster Teeth stuff early. We're also planning on looking at the Overwatch animated series that is dropping on their channel, and that's going to be on the Patreon before it goes public, so keep an eye out for that there.
Very cool.
We have a Ko-fi if you want to throw a couple bucks our way. We do commissions, not requests, commissions. All that information is down there in the description, along with all the buttons you should hit to keep the YouTube algorithm, I don't know, running simulations, I fucking guess.
Like, subscribe, ding!
Yes, all that fun shit. And like we always say, make sure you're registered to vote, even if you think you are. Double check. Vote in your local elections, even the small ones that you don't think affect you. They do. Change does start locally. And it turns out a school board that's all thinking the same way can make a lot of unilateral change. For better or for worse, really depends on who you put in those seats. So, register to vote. Vote in your local elections. Support your local libraries. It's very important. Even just walking in the door helps with their numbers. And you can use Hoopla and Libby, which are apps that your local library will probably use one or the other. And you can use a library card to get ebooks and audiobooks and CDs and movies and all of this fun stuff through the app.
I just started an audiobook about a vampire detective in the 1930s. I'm very excited.
Yeah, you did. And I used Hoopla to read all of The Wicked and the Divine. So, yeah, it's it's good things to do, and it gets you just so much stuff to read and watch and whatnot. Your library will also probably have a subscription to the Washington Post, the Wall Street Journal, the New York Times, all of these newspapers where otherwise they're behind a paywall. They should have a subscription to JSTOR and other academic article repositories. Like, the library has so much stuff, and every time you use it, it helps them get funding, which helps them remain one of the only public places that doesn't expect you to spend money to be there.
You could use the library and those resources we mentioned to read the Ruby novels.
Yeah, you can.
And also hashtag Greenlight Volume 10.
Yeah, yep, we're here. We support all of it. So yes, do all of those things. Take care of each other.
Hi.
Winter's here.
Have your pets
not
spayed or
gonna say-
neutered.
Have your pets spayed and neutered. I say it like my cat's not about to fucking bail the second I start. Aren't you? Aren't you gonna leave?
Sorry.
There she goes! Alright. She doesn't even be on camera anymore. She's
Very
done being the
funny.
third host of this channel. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
That's it? Winter? No, she's done. Okay.